episode of Small World Big Questions. As you guys know, my name is Aliad, and today I am in Toronto. So I'm just here for a short visit in Toronto. I'm here with a friend. I don't know if she wants to be on camera. Do you want to be on camera?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi.
I'm with my friend here. Her name is Yuki, and we're just going for brunch. We're just taking a nice walk, and we're going for some brunch. We're going to a place called what's the name of the place? Patricia Grill or something like that. So I guess I'll show you guys when we get there. There's not much going on. Like, if you all look around, the streets are really quiet this morning. The sun is out and it's about -1, so it's nice weather. I will jump straight into today's big question. As you guys know, every episode I try to ask a big question, and today is March 8th, and today's actually International Women's Day. So my big question today is kind of related to the theme of International Women's Day, and my question is, are women today oppressed? And as I go throughout the day, I will share a little bit of my views. I'll see if I could ask someone their views on it. I want to focus mainly in the Western world, like Canada, the US, and so on. How are women feeling? Are we feeling like empowered, or do we find that we still feel a little bit oppressed in society today? So stay tuned, and I'll show you guys a little bit of Toronto, as I usually do. So yeah. So I'm doing something slightly different in today's video. While I take you guys on our walk to have our brunch, I'll show you guys the video footage of our walk while doing a voiceover discussion of our big question today. So if you guys like this type of video where I do voiceovers over some of our adventure footage, please leave a comment below or drop a like so I'll know how to go forward with future videos. Jumping right into today's big question. Are women oppressed today? Well, basically, I came up with this question through one of my philosophy courses, which I'm currently taking. I'm taking a moral philosophy course where we discuss different controversial, sometimes moral issues. And this was one of those topics that really interested me. So we did a lot of readings and discussions in class, and I will share my views with you guys in a minute. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about oppression. What is oppression? So based on what I've learned, there are two main types of oppression that we see: agent oppression and systemic oppression. And in general, oppression could be seen where any one group has a lot more power and advantages over another group, right? Another group who may be disadvantaged and may experience physical, psychological, emotional harms. Agent oppression is where one group or individual has so much power and the other group has no choice, no power, and it usually constitutes their harm. Key examples of agent oppression would be things like dictatorships, where a dictator basically limits and has control over its subjects, over the people that live within its jurisdiction, and those people are not free. They're limited in what they can see, what they can do, what they can believe. That lack of choice and the harms that could come with it, one would define that as agent oppression. Another key example in history would be enslavement, in which the Africans were taken against their will and brought to the Western world to work under very harsh conditions. They had no choice. Many of the times, if they were to make a choice that went in opposition to their slave masters, they could be killed. So that's a clear example of one group having domination and power over another group that could lead to their harm. Systemic oppression sometimes could be a little more difficult to identify because it lies within the systems in which we live. It could be based on laws or societal norms and cultures in which one group has certain advantages and privileges that other groups do not have, and then that group might result in that group having more power as a overall, right? So that's some clear examples of types of oppression. And I want to bring that back to today's question on whether women are oppressed today. When I discuss this question, I'm not talking about those cases where, it's really sad that some women become victim to, unfortunate circumstances, whether it be being in a abusive relationship where their partner has a significant hold on their lives and control over them, so they have no freedoms, no say, no voice, and they experience physical harms. That's one type of oppression, and women do tend to be have a higher risk of that type of oppression in relationships. There's still also different types of, like, sex trafficking today would be oppressive to women who were taken against their will. So women are oppressed in these situations, and I'm not going to talk about this question from that lens of those types of cases, but rather are all women in general, right? All women oppressed today by the system. But before we go deeper into the topic, let's take a quick break for some brunch. So hi guys, behind me is the Patrician Grill where we're gonna have our brunch. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. So
I want French toast, please. Sorry, I won't get the potato for today, that's all. What do we got over here?
yeah, so on YouTube.
Like a small review or something?
Just like I just kind of vlog like little
Just like the vibe, huh?
yeah, just a vibe, yeah.
Okay, guys, okay, here we go. Look at my ear one, Louie. Hang on. You sure you'll be able to eat it all? That's okay. You got a big stomach, right? No? A small stomach? No.
Thank you.
It's not mine. Okay.
So hi everyone. So we just finished having brunch at Patrician Grill in Toronto. It was really good, really great service. You know, the guy was I think he was funny. I think he was like probably one of the owners. Yeah. Like it seems like a family business, and it was funny and good service, and the food was good. So now we're just taking a walk. We're gonna go to the Eaton Center and explore a little bit. So yeah. Now that we have eaten and we're all full and have energy, let's continue to talk about today's big question. So I already set the tone for this discussion. We're speaking of oppression of women in the Western world today. And we already established that we're speaking of women as a large group, as general population of women. Are women really still oppressed today? So first I want to share the perspective of one philosopher that I've studied in my philosophy course. Her name is Anne Codd. And just to give her perspective, I'm going to quote her first before I give my impression of what she says. She says, quote, I shall argue, though, that oppression operates by means of apparently voluntary choices, and that the oppression of women in contemporary United States society is an example of choice under oppression. Because their choices are coerced, their choosing does not justify conditions that result from their choices. End quote. So Anne Cod is introducing a concept she calls oppression by choice. Her argument is in response to other philosophers who was suggesting that women are no longer oppressed because certain situations in society today, such as the gender wage gap and even marriage, are as a result of the choice that women themselves make. But Anne Cod is saying no, women are oppressed despite the fact that they made those choices for their own lives, because there was a lack of any better choice for them to make. So let's discuss two perspectives Anne discusses in her argument. The first one is the gender wage gap, and the second one is marriage proposals. So with the gender wage gap, it is empirically true that women on average make less income than men in the Western world. However, it is also empirically true that this is not because of any injustices within the system. Mainly, like, it could exist that some companies may be going against the law and paying women unfairly, but that's not the system imposing that on women. The system actually tries to make it fair for women, especially now, today, after women have been through so much. There have been a lot of work on the system and the laws to ensure that women are protected within the workplace. And that involves their wages. Women, for the same task, for the same job, women are paid the same as men. However, the main reason for the gender wage gap is that women, on average, tend to choose jobs that pay less than what men choose. So men choose those jobs where there's more risk and where the pay is generally higher, and women tend to choose jobs that are not as high paying. And that's their choice. Women choose that. So if women made that choice, how can we say they are oppressed because of the gender wage gap? So Anne Cod suggests that, well, really and truly, women don't really have much of other choice. And she uses the gender wage gap to show in marriage that because women make less than men, a woman don't really have much choice when they have children. When that couple has children, she has to leave her job to take care of the children, because it makes sense that the higher paying one in the household will continue to work. So the person who makes less income will have to stay home. So when it comes to caring for the children in the home, women don't really have much choice because of the existing gender wage gap. The second thing she talks about is marriage proposal. She suggests because men propose, that means they have more choice than women, and the only choice women have is to say yes or no to whoever proposes to them. So that limits women's choices in society. What do you guys think of this? Leave comments below and let me know what you think of Anne Cod's opinion and thoughts on oppression of women in today's society. I'll give a little bit of my thoughts. I genuinely disagree with that perspective. I think that women do make rational choices and are able to make rational choices for their lives. And I don't think there's anyone in Western society coercing women to make certain choices over others. Women in general in Western world tend to be free to make whatever choices they want. So it's difficult for me to see that women today are oppressed by choice. And I think that women who choose to stay home to care for their family, they make that choice because they love their family, not because they feel like they have no other choice but to do so. And similarly, if we were to argue that women are oppressed by lack of the right types of choices, men can make the same argument that there's many choices that they cannot make. For example, the choice to pay child support, the choice to go to war as a US citizen, for example. Like, sometimes men are also limited by choice, and everybody in some way sometimes have limitations on choices. I don't think that's a valid reason though to call someone oppressed. Unless the situation is clearly bad and they're clearly being harmed by the situation, I can't say that they are oppressed. And I think if we use the word oppression for that purpose, we make the word meaningless. We make the word seem like everyone is oppressed, whether you're living a good life or not, you're oppressed. Well then, what does the word oppressed actually mean if we're using it in that context? So that's my thoughts on it. As we celebrate International Women's Day and this month of March, let's continue to recognize what women have gone through and how far we've reached, but also to learn to take accountability for the choices that we have made, because only in doing so we can become truly empowered. If you want to hear more on this topic, comment below if you would like a part 2, because I have a whole lot I could say on this. But that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you all for watching and have a great one. Bye.